Hey everybody, Patty here with the Haven Realty Group. We're doing our Real Talk, Real People, Real Estate with Haven Realty Group. And today I'm super excited to have Eric on. He's the owner and founder of My NHD. And for realtors, when you're filling out your RPA, it's the first one in the drop down because it's the best and it's the most affordable for our clients. And Eric, that couldn't have been easy to get that through California Association of Realtors.
It was not easy, but we were the first, and they loved our product. They love what we do and how we do it. So we are, as I like to say, the first and only and top spot of many, right?
Nice.
We're exactly like nobody else, and we're doing a lot of interesting things. I mean, we were the first ones. I don't know if I tell you a little bit of history on me. I've been in the business since '87, so 37 years now, despite my youthful
Wow.
appearance, right? I started off doing all the retrofitting in the city of LA every time a property sold. The water heater strapping, low flush toilets, safety film on the sliding
Oh,
glass doors,
that was you?
automatic shut-off valves. I was doing all this retrofitting. And then, of course, in '94, the agents came to me and said, they're starting to force us to buy these disclosure reports. Why don't you do it? So I built a team of geologists. We started doing these reports in '94, 3 a day, 4 a day, 5 a day, and it kept
Wow.
growing and growing. And then '98, of course, it became a state law, kept growing and growing. And then,
Nice.
of course, in 2003, Fidelity and First American tried to buy me, and we wouldn't sell. And then 2005, one of them came back, and I ended up selling the company. And I was miserable the next day after I sold the company.
Oh
And I
no.
was like, what I just do? I was loving life and all that stuff, but the market was super crazy,
What year
and
was
I was
that?
thinking it might be a good idea to take a few chips off the table. I just didn't. We didn't know what was going to happen. So I was able to skip the 2008 debacle, right? I signed a non-compete. In 2009, I said, oh my God, my non-compete's coming up. I couldn't believe everyone was still doing it the same old way. There's better ways to do it, better technology. And that's where I get into we are the first of many because we were the first ones to reduce everybody's report from 50 plus pages down to 25 pages. We were the first ones to do multiple signature pages down to one signature page,
Oh my
right?
gosh, thank
We are
you.
the top
Yeah.
spot and the first one on the drop down. We are the first and still the only one that introduced the real map technology in the reports. So you actually see the actual real maps, not cartoon maps, not no maps, real actual aerial maps on the property with the hazard, the hazard affecting that property. We're still the only one doing that. And because it's online, if you print out the report, you won't be able to click on the buttons to look at the map. So we are the first ones and still the only ones to have a QR code on there. So if you hold your phone to the QR code, the maps pop right in your phone.
Which is what we're going to do when we send our pre-listing appointment packet. We're going to be sending that document to the client so they can see that we're proactive with getting them ready for how we need to present the property and also for the buyers so they can get with their insurance, which is Darlene, to get ahead of all of that. So that is really
So
great.
you already have the listing when you're doing this, correct?
No, we're actually before the listing appointment. We have the stance that we're going to start working for them before we're signed.
Well,
Yep.
so we don't recommend ordering the report before you have a contract on the deal because then we're spending money and everybody's spending money not doing it. As soon as you get the listing, provide the report. But before that, you have the little tool that we give you on your phone that allows you to look up any property and tells you if it's in a flood or fire zone,
Got it
right?
right here.
And
Okay.
that's an amazing tool because and you brought it up, Patty, a few minutes ago, where insurance is such a big issue, right? And
Yeah, and it used
especially
to be
fire
like at the
insurance
end, get
and
your
flood insurance.
utilities and get your insurance. Now
Which
we have to do it at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, insurance has become such a big deal that we
Yeah.
want people. And unfortunately, even if you're not in a fire zone or even not in a specific flood zone, insurance carriers may still, at their discretion, still may require you to carry additional fire insurance on the property just because you might be close or within a certain amount of distance that they feel uncomfortable, right?
Eric Darlene is with Farmers Insurance.
I love
She's
that. Hey, Darlene.
yes, so she
Hi,
was
how
on
are
last
you?
week.
So you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, it's so funny because people talk about these maps and I'm like, yeah, but farmers, as an example, is running a business and they have their own maps. They have their
That's
own
correct.
ideas.
You,
They
you,
have their own thresholds or saturation. Saturation's a big deal.
Saturation
Right.
is a big deal, and you're calling it exactly how it is.
Yeah.
So, insurance companies have their own maps and make their own decisions because they don't believe a fire might stop right where the fire line is.
Right.
And for all the right reasons.
What?
And a prime example of this is in the Altadena fire, there were properties that were burnt that were not in the fire zone, right?
Yep.
Right.
It
Yep.
happens. So insurance companies may do their own thing. So you want to, even if you're not in a fire zone, you want to check on that. But our little tool on the phone allows
Yeah, I
anybody.
want you to show these guys how to do it. And anybody who's watching, get this on your phone. It's not an app. It's going to take you directly to the site.
Right, here it is. You can kind of see on my phone here. Um, everybody's kind of see this?
Go this way. Go more in the
Go
middle.
this way. There we go.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
My house.
It's super cool. So everybody has their phone. Pull up your phones. And usually I show you a QR code, but I don't have that QR code with me. I'm going to tell you how to do it. So go into your Safari. Everybody have iPhones?
Yep.
Okay, go to your Safari and you're going to type in this website, MY has HAZ check CHECK.com and click go. You're going to love this tool.
I know, it's so fun.
Well, let
I
me
did
know when
mine
it
last
pops
week.
up there when you see the My NHD thing pop up.
I did it on Google. Is that okay?
I think it'll be okay. We'll make it
And
work.
you're going to get the little
So you'll get not yet. Let me show them
oh,
what to do.
okay.
So first of all, we're gonna save it to your home screen. So on the Google phone, it might be in the top, but at the bottom of your phone, there might be a little box with a arrow pointing up right in the middle at the very bottom of the phone. Click that. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And then scroll up a little, scroll down a little, and then it'll say add to home screen.
Okay.
Click that, and then add top right corner. And now it's on your phone. This is how you save websites to your home screen. Pretty good, right?
Yeah, that's
It's
pretty
not
cool.
an app, it's just a website. Everybody get that, okay?
Yep.
Okay, so now go ahead and
Kyle,
either,
did you get
if
it?
you already have a My NHD account,
Yes.
you can sign in.
Yeah, I'm good.
Otherwise, sign up. This will take a minute to 30 seconds to sign up. So it's 10 seconds to put it on your phone and another 30 seconds to sign up. It's that easy.
Are you on
Kyle's out
social
in
media
Marietta,
too?
so I want to see how his comes out.
Say that again?
Kyle's out in Marietta, so I want to see where his
Well,
zones
you
are.
can pull up properties anywhere in the
I know, I
state.
love this.
Yeah.
Do you have like a Facebook page and all that fun stuff too?
We do. We have
Okay.
Facebook, we have Instagram. I'm not on social media personally, but my company runs a LinkedIn for me. But my company is heavy into social media, heavy.
So MYHAZCHEC.
No, not for that. It's more My NHD, MY NHD. But we advertise this thing. This thing is just a different website just for this purpose, right?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right. So was everybody able to sign in?
I
Or
did.
sign
Sign
up?
in. Yep.
And this will work on your computers too. So you're signed up. So start putting in property addresses. Click flood and fire, and there's some super cool little tools that you'll love on this thing.
And this is the one we can send to the clients with our pre-listing
This is the one.
packet.
So this is how you use this. Number one, if you're working with buyers, you can pre-check all the properties. If they don't want to buy in a fire zone, you can pre-check everything. If you go to a listing appointment and you walk in there and say, listen, I pulled up your property. I see it's in a fire zone or it's in a flood zone. I've already called insurance. I'm on it. That's why you hire me, not anybody else you're interviewing, because I'm on it. It puts you
Exactly.
so far ahead of everybody else. These
And it
maps are
saves the
updated
consumer
daily
the
for us.
trouble.
We get a daily feed from FEMA on these things. It's an amazing, amazing tool. It's not an app. It's just a tool.
Mm-hmm.
So did anybody pull up properties already?
I just pulled up.
Check
Well,
out right now.
okay.
You want to show me on your screen and what it looks like? And so I'll pull up a property. Give me an address. That way I can kind of do it on my phone as well. I'm pulling up
Yeah,
fire.
Kyle probably doesn't want to share his home address.
No, it's
Okay.
fine. 34854
34854
Heartland Lane,
HART.
HEARTLAND Lane.
There it is.
Marietta?
Heartland Lane is the top one. Click it. Then you click check hazard, right? So it's doing this thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
the cute little bus. Yeah.
With the little bus,
In the
yeah.
morning, it's a coffee cup. And then you can see his property highlighted in the middle, and it's not in a fire zone. And not only do we leave it to your
Yay,
picture
me.
looking at that, but we also tell you that it's not in, not in, not in the three zones that we're looking at for high or very high fire severity zone, right? We're looking at the state level. We're looking at the SRA, which means state fire responsibility area. We're also looking at the local level. Now, across from that, there's a little dial that you can pull all the way across or tap at the end of the line. And I'm zooming out to see if there's a fire zone anywhere near your property. So I'm actually zooming out to a quarter mile, and still you chose a property that's nothing
Nice.
Nothing
Yes.
near there, which is great. If you look in the picture portion, top left corner of the picture, if you click that button, you can email it to anybody,
Oh,
right?
wow.
And it would say courtesy of, because in the bottom left corner, it's got your name in there, courtesy of you, right?
I love that.
And this particular property, oh, now I see about a quarter mile away, there is a fire zone on the left there. You see it?
Whew.
You
Hold
see that
on.
little red pink area?
Getting
That's the fire
close.
zone over there.
I
on that
just picked
particular
one in
property.
Palm Springs and it's high fire. It's
Oh.
extreme high fire. It's so
Wow.
weird to me.
For a property in Palm Springs, hold on, check that. I'm just checking this one more time. I want to see if it's anywhere near a flood zone now. So I just switch it over to flood.
Uh,
And again, we get a feed from FEMA every day, and this one's not even near a flood zone at all either.
Cool.
Yes.
Even if I zoom.
And this is stuff that buyers really need to know because insurance on top of being more expensive, it's
Yeah,
harder
he's got
to
a little
get.
flood zone near his property there in Murrieta, but you can see it's not in, so it won't be, but there's a flood zone right there.
oh, wow.
Riverfront, Kyle.
And
You're
listen to
good.
this. Not only did we show on the flood determinations, it says out of the FEMA level, out of the local level. So not only are we showing the FEMA flood zone, and if there's a loan on the property, the lender's going to require a flood cert, and if there isn't in a flood zone, lender will require flood insurance. But we go a step further. We also show a local flood zone. Lenders don't care about this. Nobody really cares about it, but it's that important for this reason. If you might not be in a FEMA flood zone, therefore lender doesn't care, we're all good. But if you're in a local flood zone and you decide to build or develop that property, the city
Oh.
may not let you build on it because you're in a local flood zone. Remember,
Interesting.
FEMA's looking from the national basis or state basis with a 50,000 foot level, but every county has its own geologist running through the county in our backyards, and they have their own local flood zones. And if you're in a local flood zone, you may not be able to develop that property if you're in that local
Oh,
flood
wow.
zone. So let me give you an example of that. We just had a situation in Tulare County. It was not our report that was used. The buyer buys a home up there. He's excited about building a pool in it. Was not a MY NHD report, and the report that he had did not show local flood zones. And it's clearly in a local flood zone.
Oof.
City is not letting him build his pool,
Wow.
right? Because it's in a local flood zone. This is the extra things that MY NHD does. This is what we do, right? We do the work, you get the protection, which is critical. You realize how important these things are in the transaction. And Patty, you made a great point because you want the buyers to get it as quickly as possible in the transaction. Because once a buyer gets this report, they have depending upon the delivery to them, they have 3 to 5 days to get out of the transaction based on anything they see in our report, right? So if you give the report to them at the end of the transaction, they're looking for a way out, they could say something like, I wanted to be in a flood zone and I'm not. I'm out of the transaction. And there's nothing anybody can do about that.
So it's excluded from the inspection contingency period?
Correct.
I did not know that.
It's
Wow.
when
Well,
the buyer
but that's
receives
because
that,
we always
they-
get it first thing.
you get it first thing, so
So
this
in
never
my
comes up
brain,
as an
it's
issue because
part
you
of
do it
that
the right way.
process. I just checked my listing in Laguna Beach Canyon,
Yep.
and it's
Is there a
close to
fire
a
zone?
zone.
Oh, that's near a flood zone.
And the fire zone, forget about it. It's all high, super high.
All you had to
So
say
why
is
don't you
the
click
word
on fire so we can all
canyon.
see that one as well?
I had Darlene at Canyon, yeah.
You know you're in trouble.
So, like I said, this is completely accurate. It's accurate like our reports are. We even put in the bottom right corner underneath the MY NHD logo we've even got the date you viewed this. Why? Because the maps change, right? We get an update every day. So if it changes tomorrow, it'll
Wow.
be a different determination. So we want to know if you're using this map, what day you looked at it. Yeah, you're absolutely in a high fire.
Oh, that's a pretty pink you got
And we
there.
tell you,
Patty.
and which fire zone was it in?
Very high severity zone.
It's the first one, right? The state very high fire severity
Yeah.
zone. Yep. Any of those ends will trigger the same effect, which is that AB 38 requirements, where the seller's going to have to fill out
Oh, and
that
it
home
tells you
hardening
that right there
form.
too.
Sorry?
It tells you right there, the AB
We do
38.
tell you AB 38 applies, and the seller will have to fill out that home hardening form, the defensible space form, to the
And then it's
best of their
also
knowledge, right?
adjacent to highway high fire hazard zone in the yellow.
It's
Oh,
adjacent
wow.
to that. That's right. So that yellow, correct me if I'm wrong, is the SRA zone. That means State Fire
Yeah,
Responsibility Area. That means the state's responsible for fighting those fires, where the zone that this property's in, the local municipalities are required to fight those fires. But they all team up
really.
and work together,
So that is probably separated by Laguna Canyon Road.
probably.
So the state's responsible for one and Laguna is responsible for the other side? Oh,
Yes, but they
interesting.
assist each other no matter
Right,
what,
right.
right? They're going to help each other no matter what. But if
Learned
you think
something new
about the
today.
rural, so the state fire responsibility, the state's responsible for fighting the fires, mostly in those rural areas like Lake Arrowhead and out there.
Well,
But
that's true because in
the,
Laguna Canyon, it's only
but
built on one side. The
the
other side,
local
there's no
level,
building. Yeah.
that particular property, but they will all work together in putting out
Yeah.
that fire. But in the state fire responsibility area, when the state's responsible, there's high or very high within the SRA. And at the state level, there's also high or very high. So one of the disclosures on the NHD on the report is the property in a state fire responsibility area? And the question is yes, if it's yes. But that doesn't mean it's in the high or very high of the state fire responsibility area.
Mm,
It's only if it's in the high or very high that
makes
triggers that
sense.
AB 38 compliance that has to be done, right? So this is an amazing little tool. It's updated daily. It's great to have. You should use it, and it puts you in such a good place because buyers don't want to buy in a flood zone or fire zone. You can pre-check everything, like I said. Or if it is in something and you're going to a listing appointment, you say, I'm on it. I've already called insurance. That's why you're hiring me. Use it to your advantage
Absolutely.
because I guarantee 99% of the agents aren't doing that, right? They're
Love
doing
it.
what everybody does.
This is why we have Eric and Darlene.
This is awesome.
You know,
This
we
is
do
such
we
a
do
cool
have
app.
language at the bottom of that thing where this is for informational purposes only and cannot be relied upon for seller and agent statutory disclosure requirements until an official My NHD report is ordered and delivered, right?
Oh, nice.
That's language we have on the bottom there. And like I said, all over our reports, we have language like irrespective of the determinations in this report, insurance companies at their discretion may still require you to carry additional flood or additional fire insurance, right? I'm down here in Orange County. I'm down here in Newport Beach, and I am not in a flood zone, right? I'm near a flood zone, but I'm definitely not in a flood zone. But I happen to be, Darlene, in a tsunami zone. So
Oh,
I I choose to carry flood insurance
Right.
because
Wow.
weather, we could talk about weather, but what we've seen in the past 5 years far exceeds the intensity than what we've seen in the last 100 years.
and
You
in
know,
Newport, you've got the King's Tide too.
we do, and we've got high tides, we have case tides, we've got everything here in Newport, but no fire zones over here. Actually, there are fire zones in Corona del Mar. Actually,
Really?
yep. Backing up to Corona del Mar, they consider those, the state considers a high fire severity zone over there. Incredible, right?
Interesting.
Palos
I,
Verdes is. So right
well,
now we've
yeah.
got new maps that were just released. Everybody's talked about these. We've seen it on the news, all these new LRA maps, right? New local responsibility areas. They call them local responsibility areas, but are you in a high or very high of these local responsibilities areas? And to give you an example, what we saw in LA around UCLA, Sunset Boulevard, everyone knows Sunset Boulevard around UCLA. Everything above Sunset Boulevard was in a high fire severity zone. Everything below was not. Now with these new maps released, it looks like they've gone an eighth or even a quarter mile below that Sunset Boulevard. And now like half of UCLA is in a high fire severity zone, right? So it's
Wow.
actually incredible how these new maps say. So these new maps that were released, they were just released by the state and now by CAL FIRE in the state. And now they're under review for public review and local fire municipalities review, local city review. And they will be in effect usually within 120 days during the review period, but they are currently not official yet. So we are hearing from some of the companies out there. We have the new maps. We're using the new maps, all in type stuff. So we went to our contacts at CAL FIRE and we said, what should we do? Because we have the maps as well. And they said, you should check with your attorney on this one. But since they're not quite official yet, you may want to hold off. So we decided to go to our attorney, and we use someone named Jennifer Felton, not someone, the one named Jennifer Felton. She's so good on disclosure. I met her about 15 years ago, and she was speaking on disclosure at an Orange County escrow dinner. And I said, I couldn't believe what I was hearing because I've never met someone that knew more about disclosure than me.
I
Right?
can't imagine specializing in disclosures.
Well, she doesn't specialize in disclosures. She represents about 350 escrow companies and brokerages as well.
Wow.
So she's great. If you need a referral, she's amazing. So I immediately told her after that meeting, you're going to be our disclosure girl. Go through our report, hemorrhage on everything you want to. We'll change whatever. So every piece of language you put in our reports goes through legal first, and everything you do. She gets it. So she said to us this. She said, Eric, when I asked her, should we be including these maps in our report? Because we see our competitors are doing it and they're all advertising it and they're not official yet. Because usually when a new map is released, we wait till that official period, right? We wait till it's officially available. She said, you're not going to like my answer on this. I said, okay, but she said, if you can do it, you will be the only one doing it for sure. And I said, okay, what should we do? She said, I would do both. I would disclose if it's in the current fire zones, higher verified fire zones. And if it's in the new one, I would say in per the new pending LRA maps, because we know they will get approved the way they are. But while they're under review, the local municipalities are chiming in and they're probably going to make them greater. They cannot do less than what the new maps say now, but they can add to them. We see them add to them all the time. So they're going to add and make them greater areas as well.
And you can still give people a heads up. This is what's
coming. So you're
coming.
giving them a heads up that it's in. And if you call CAL FIRE for an inspection on this, they're going to still say you're not in because they're not official yet. But you're giving people the proper notice to avoid that. Why didn't you tell me lawsuits? Because we know this information. So it's the right thing. So if it is in the report, if it's in the new areas, it'll say per new pending LRA maps. If it's in on my has check on the phone, you will see it the same way per new pending LRA maps. It'll show it that way as well.
Okay, I have an insurance question, Darlene.
Sure.
At what point would an insurance company pick up these changes and affect somebody's premium?
I don't know that each company, no one's ever said that to us. Like when we're talking to farmers, we're just putting in the information on the quote and then it pops up all the fire score, protection class and all that. Never have they spoke about these maps.
I'll chime in on this with Darlene. I think like Darlene mentioned earlier, insurance companies have their own maps. Yeah. And they might put buffers around the existing maps and maybe ask for it another quarter mile out or half mile out.
So they may already be covering those areas.
So they're already on it.
Gotcha.
They're already seeing these things. I mean, they are completely on it. I mean, insurance companies are not having a party with the new weather that's going on everywhere. It's very
well said.
But we don't know what will happen next. But all we know is that things are more intense than they've ever been before, right?
They make their own business decisions, I think, on what exposures they have as a company. So these maps are kind of like backup, I think, because people talk about them, but the insurance, they never talk about it to us as far as our executives.
Right. They're going to Darlene and people are saying, look, Darlene, you guys want me to carry this additional fire insurance, but I'm not in. Look at my report, look at it.
Yeah.
And
you're the bad guy.
And so we have that in 3 places in our report. That language that irrespective of the determinations in this report, insurance companies will do, they decide at their discretion whether they want you to have additional insurances on these products, whether you're in or not.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, I think we're the only company doing that as well. I mean, it's actually incredible. So we do the local floods. We're the first to do that and the only, and we just do all these extra additional things because truly, think about what we do. The seller and the agent need to make certain disclosures to the buyer. The buyer needs this information for their own due diligence.
You're protecting everybody.
We're doing the work. everybody's getting the protection. We
Yes.
help prevent the why didn't you tell me lawsuits. I have 2 lawsuits here that were given by our attorneys because I'm on my way to a conference in Colorado. So we actually have a national product now. So we're trying to take it national, even though it's only
Wow,
required.
good for you.
Yeah, we're very excited about that. It's required by law in California, but we're taking it because the same rules apply. Seller and agent need to make certain disclosures, and the buyer should have this information. But I've got 2 lawsuits out there, one concerning a flood and one concerning a smell from a dump site that a buyer never was
Oh gosh.
notified. And that's
Really?
a property in Texas and or Louisiana, and they were never notified, and they were able to get out of the transaction or get a lot of money from it because nobody told them. Because we have to be very
Wow.
careful with this stuff because the agents, you as real estate agents, you profess as you're the expert for the area.
Yeah.
That's why they're hiring you. You're the expert. So the seller may or may not know that something's around them. Chances are they may, but they may. But the agents who says I'm the expert of the area,
And some sellers just aren't going to disclose every single thing because they're like, oh, the
they're
buyer's not
afraid that
going to
it'll
like it,
affect the
even no matter what
transaction.
we tell them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Always disclose, 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 disclose,
Yes.
right? If you know about something, better to put it out there. You don't want
Yeah.
someone finding it later and then coming back later. So Patty, and Patty, when your clients have a question on the report, if it's pretty simple and just easy to understand that they can't find where the map is located or whatever, that's easy to help them with. But they have a question concerning disclosures or some of the data that's in the report. You want to stay out of that liability loop, right? You want to have them reach out to us. Let us
Oh, your
answer the
staff is
questions, whether
amazing.
it be our salesperson. We want to keep
Yeah.
you that arm's length away because you never want this to happen. You never want them to say, "Oh, Patty, my amazing agent told me it's okay and not a big deal."
Yeah.
Right? You don't want that to
We
happen.
are not the expert at this,
We are not the expert at it. Leave
but
it to
we
the expert.
surround ourselves with them.
Thank you very much.
That's right.
I admire your taste. Thank you. And Darlene admires your taste too. Thank
Gosh,
you.
Eric, thank you so much. This was really interesting on a lot of levels.
Oh my
And
God,
a
yes.
lot of people just need to know that we are here to protect everyone, keep everybody out of court, and keep everybody happy.
Yep.
You want to be in a home you love. You don't want to, like you said, the poor person that got into the home with the dump. Oh, that would be terrible.
You
So,
just you
yeah, I
just want
love
to
it.
have the buyer be able to do their due diligence. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say one last thing that we're also another first and the only company. We actually have a fire burn disclosure advisory. So we have lots of advisories in the report because if someone's buying a property that may have been near a burn site or in a burn site previously, well, there may be contamination issues. So we
Ah,
recommend that they get a
Interesting.
geotechnical or environmental expert to take a look. There may be future mudslide issues and future burn
ah.
issues. So we have disclosures like that, advisories in there. Disclosures are public information. It's information we have that we aggregate that we sell. Advisories, we love advisories because it protects the seller, it protects the agent, and it advises the buyer to do something, right? Like example, like Megan's Law, right? We
Hmm.
put the advisory of Megan's Law in there, but we don't list all the sex offenders that are around a property. We advise the buyer to, if they want to do it, here's a link. They can look up whatever they want to look up. We advise buyers to do whatever research they want to do. So we love advisories in the report because it protects sellers and agents and puts the onus on the buyer to do something.
Due
And we've
diligence.
got lots of advisories in these reports, right?
It's
So
literally in the word advise.
well said.
Yeah.
Well, very good, Eric. Thank you so much. I can't wait to get this out to everybody. I think there's just so much value here, and we got the dream team here with you and Darlene, so that's the best.
I
Thank
dream
you
about
so
Darlene all the
much.
time.
All
Yes,
right,
this is
everybody, we will
wonderful.
see you next week.
Thank
Have
you
a
for
great
having
Yeah,
me.
day.
nice
Have a
to
great
meet
day.
you.
Thanks for
Have a
chiming
good
in.
one.